everyone. Welcome to AMP's Joe Fosco Show. Our recurring guest, Mr. Michael Magnifici, is with us again.
Good to see you, Joseph, again.
Always a pleasure, sir.
My pleasure.
Yeah, so what's going on today with sports, Mr. Sports Expert?
Sports Expert. Sports Expert got a lot of picks today that I wanted to give your viewers a chance to possibly make some money today. And the only way they're going to be able to do that is to go against all the picks I give them. Because I could never pick a winner. If I could, I would have never been a bookmaker for the years I was.
Yes.
So I got a couple of picks that I'm pretty confident that at least 2 out of 3 will lose. So if you go against them, you'll have 2 out of 3 winners, is what I'm saying.
All right, this will be an interesting experiment.
Well, we'll try it and see. And I do like, well, not I do like, I happen to love.
Now, these are the ones you genuinely...
I genuinely like these, so you have to go against this.
Okay.
Remember, you go against what I'm about to say.
All right.
Because I can never win.
Yeah.
I like Green Bay minus the 3.5.
Okay.
So that means you take Seattle.
All right.
Okay. I like the Colts minus the 7 against the Jets. So you take the Jets. That's tomorrow night, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And I like Philadelphia a whole lot minus 6.5.
So
a whole lot. That's like my double.
Definitely.
That's like your double down
Yeah.
pick there.
Okay.
You go against that one there,
Right.
and you take Dallas plus the 6.5.
Okay.
And I do have one more on here. Let me look on my sheet.
Get this down, people.
This is
We might be onto something here.
This might be the new betting service that
Gotcha.
can reach new
Yeah,
heights.
sure.
I do like Arizona against the Bears. I mean, I'm a Bear fan, but the Bears just, Arizona minus 1.5, so you take the Bears.
So the Bears are gonna win.
Yeah, so the Bears are going to win.
Well, that's
today.
good.
So that's good,
Good news,
yeah. Being that I like the opposite
Yes.
of them, that's going to be a good thing.
All right.
But that's my little sports betting thing there.
Great.
But other than that, a few things of interest. The Tiger Woods this week
He had some surgery or something?
had another back surgery, second one.
Mm.
And everybody in the world was basically, wondering about this. He's going to beat Jack Nicklaus's, 18 majors, this and that. I thought that for sure he was a lock when he was at 14 5 years ago.
Right.
There was just no way I could see him not doing that. But, golf is such, it's harder on the back than any other sport, believe it or not. And if they have a second surgery, I think he's had a couple of knee surgeries, a hand surgery. It just doesn't look like to me, I wouldn't be surprised if he may only win a couple more tournaments the rest of his career on the regular PGA Tour. And it's a shame because the way he's played, the stress that he puts on his back more than anybody else, he torques himself so much.
I see.
And it just, it's going to be a difficult thing for him to come back from. I mean, you saw that he couldn't come back from the first surgery, how he played,
Right.
missing cuts that he never did over 15-year career or 18-year career, whatever the hell it was. He didn't miss, but 2 cuts.
How is he going to pay his bills if he doesn't have a significant future in golf?
Well, that's going to be tough for him. I guess he's got to look into that $400 million that he's saved and start tapping into that a little bit.
Invested wisely.
Yeah, because you could go broke, when you only have $400 million.
He writes, he would, I read somewhere he was writing checks out to various women, $50,000 increments for different things.
Well, you know what, you could write $50,000 checks out to women that I wouldn't even spit on if they were on fire. And with his money, you will never go broke. So he's gonna be fine.
Right.
I'm making a joke. No, he's got, what did he give his wife? What did his wife?
Oh, I have no idea. I heard all different.
I heard she wound up with 175 million.
I heard rumors even much larger.
Larger than that. Yes, financially he's going to be fine. But with these guys, it's not.
Did they rekindle? I heard somewhere. I thought I heard they were talking about.
I didn't hear that.
Catching it up.
I didn't hear that. I heard that she. The way it looked. That divorce ended quick. When you're fighting over that type of money. And for that to end that quickly,
Mm-hmm.
did it really, what did it last, like 14 months? The minute she filed, something like that. It was just a little over a year.
Jackie Cerrone Jr.'s divorce, I think, went about 6 years.
Right.
And granted, I'm sure it was an above average amount of money.
Right. Well, when Tiger Woods was fighting over $400 400,
Yeah,
giving her
I
a
don't
couple
think
two.
it's that kind of money.
I don't think so either. But anyway, Tiger, yeah, he's his divorce ended quickly over a big amount of money. So he must have been one of those. He signed the papers and he got out of it. But another thing I want to bring up to you is about I'm really excited about the Cubs. I don't know if you're a Cub fan, Sox fan. I don't know what the viewers are.
They're both. It's a mix.
Well, you know what? I'm not a Sox hater, being that
You're a Cubs fan.
But I'm a Cubs
I
fan. And when the Sox won the World Series, I was all for it. I mean, why wouldn't I want Chicago to win it? I mean, would I rather see the Cubs there? Of course I would. But I'm not going to sit here and, trash on the Sox because of it.
Right.
But the Cubs they're in a wonderful spot right now. The only thing that's scared, I think they're only 4.5, 5 games behind. You know what? I'm sorry that I don't have the exact games that they are behind in the division. They've been creeping up on St. Louis. They only got, I think, about 15 games left, and they're not in that bad of a position to really overtake them, and maybe win that division where they don't go into that 1-game playoff. That's what's scary to me with the Cubs, is because, anything can happen in 1 game. A pitcher just won't have his stuff that day, the Cubs aren't hitting, and then you're out. In a series, you've got a chance to get back into it.
Yes.
And I just wish, it's so far-fetched that it's a reach that they could win the division. They really can't. But they are going to they're a lock for the playoffs. They're going to get that 1-game playoff. And, obviously being a fan, I'm talking from a fan's point of view, I like their chances. But in a 1 game, who knows what the hell could happen? Right. Joe, anything could happen.
Well, we saw that whole Bartman fiasco.
Yeah, right. Remember that? And what was that, 03?
Was it that long?
I believe it was. I just saw a 30 for 30 on ESPN about that. How this kid is so under the radar. They offered him like $250,000 to do an interview about it. He's turned down everything.
Yeah, that shows there's some brain damage.
He's got to be, to talk about, you're not talking about the Kennedy assassination here. You're talking about a fly ball that went into the bleachers, sure. Into the right field foul line, and somebody's telling you to give you $250,000 to say what were your thoughts when the ball was coming towards you. And you can't do that for $250,000. Maybe he was holding out for $300,000. I don't know.
Brain damage.
Yeah, he's goofy, but he won't do anything with anybody about it. I saw this whole 30 for 30 about it, and it was pretty amazing to me how you're right. He is brain damaged. But go ahead.
Bobby DeMeo, our friend, told us. For those of you who do not know who Bobby DeMeo is, he's a Chicago-based attorney, and. Look him up. He's a good lawyer if you need any kind of work done. He said to me that after that Bartman ball situation that he laughed so hard that he couldn't stop laughing for 5 minutes because he's a diehard Sox fan and he just
he liked it. Huh?
It was perfect. He thought.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a little cruel, I think.
Well, yeah, it's like laughing at a car accident.
Yeah.
You're laughing because you weren't in it. That's kind of the same mentality.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was, the kid felt terrible. But the natural reaction is, come on, if you ask any of your viewers, if they're in the stands and the ball comes toward you and you see the left fielder, who was Moises Alou, and I think Moises was his father. I think it was Philippe Alou was his father. It was Moises Alou. And he's coming towards the foul line to catch the ball. What's your thing? You're going to do this? No, your natural reaction is you can try to catch a foul. In a playoff game, you're going to try to catch a foul ball. So I don't. And they talked in this 30 for 30 documentary that they did. They talked to all the people that were there. They were like, if you watch the actual tape of it, Bartman got the blame for something that two other people were doing the same thing. They interfered just as much as he did, but he was the one with the headset on and the hat and the glasses, and he gets they had to take him out of there in security. Did you know that?
Yeah, I remember.
They took him out of there in security. They waited till everybody cleared out. Then they took him and they drove him literally to he was staying
a safe haven
until he went back to his apartment because he was staying downtown in a hotel.
I heard he was staying in Don Morris's basement with Bobby Hits.
I think Bobby Hicks was one of the guys that was grabbing at the ball too. No, he wasn't.
For those of you who do not know Bobby Hitz, actually, I don't believe anyone out there doesn't know who Bobby Hitz is. I will leave it at that.
Yeah. Famous boxer.
Yes.
But anyway, you
Look up the Foreman and Hitz fight. It's a wonderful piece.
Yeah, it wasn't good. It's all 2 minutes and 39 seconds of it. Yeah.
It went that long?
Yeah. Well, I mean, defense of Bobby, do you think that any of one of us would last 2 minutes? I don't think I would last two. I mean, I think if George Foreman walked out of the ring and I just be taking my shirt off in the ring with him would be enough for me to get hyperventilate to go out.
I was having dinner with Billy Dodano Jr. once in Florida, and he said something that was pretty funny. He said, you know, with that in that Hitz Foreman fight, Hitz really had Foreman worried for a while. I said, "You're kidding, did he?" Because he thought he killed Bobby because he was out cold.
I saw it. I thought Bobby did a good. I mean, if you look at the fight, Bobby was ready to go again after he got knocked down. I mean,
I thought he wanted to beat the referee out.
Oh, he did. He was pissed. You know.
Yeah.
Excuse my language, but yeah, he was PO'd about that. I mean, Bobby wanted to go. I mean, if you look at it, Bobby was in good shape then.
Maybe we should find out if he wants to come on the show with us.
I think he'd want to fight both of us first.
That's fine.
And yeah, well, we'd have to go together and fight him because that's the only chance we'd have against him. I don't care what kind of shape he's in. He's still a boxer. He's a friend, and he's a tough guy.
Right.
But get back to what I want to talk about. You know, this thing with this fantasy football. Do you follow any of that?
I know what it is. I don't follow.
It's amazing to me how it's so publicly known now that people gamble on fantasy football. And you don't ever see a gambling pinch anymore. There's not bookmakers getting arrested for gambling because it's going to be legal soon. It has become so, I mean, it's $1 billion business. They got this FanDuel that they're saying you put up X amount of dollars. They got people coming on commercials saying that I invested $200, I made $49,000. I invested $5,000, I made, $1 million. All this stuff. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. How the hell would I know?
Sure.
But it's just so publicly, it's amazing to me that they even could call gambling illegal today when it's being advertised every other second, especially on the weekends when you got college football and everything is, you got fantasy golf, you got fantasy baseball, fantasy basketball, fantasy football, and fantasy football obviously is the most popular one. And it's just amazing. You will see that you'll be able to go to a 7-Eleven rather than just buy your normal lotto ticket, that you'll be able to go in there and place your bets on, I want the Bears today or I want my, put in my teams. They're going to have machines that are going to be doing this fantasy. Right. You'll see that. It's coming. Believe you me, you heard it here first, it's coming.
Yeah, but the state of Illinois' lottery system is about as bad of a pay as Leo Manolis, the Chicago area bookmaker, for those of you who don't know who he is. Did you hear about the lottery problems?
No, I did not.
There are a number of people who filed a lawsuit against the state of Illinois.
Because they're not getting paid?
They're not getting paid. One woman won $200 million, hasn't collected a quarter.
What do you mean not collected a quarter? I mean, she turns in her ticket, you're supposed to get that big check.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you can't take that big check to the bank, I'm making a joke that way, but I mean, they don't get their money.
Nothing. They get an IOU.
IOU to what?
We're gonna pay you someday soon, when the budget passes.
Well, listen, I'll book the lotto then, if that's the deal. If I could owe you, I'll take it all the way. You know what, you got it coming. You got it coming.
If you or I did something like that, we would be in prison.
They'd stone us.
Yeah.
Tarred, feathered, and stoned.
The state of Illinois is
they get away with Illinois. Sure. Yeah. God, I didn't know that.
Yes.
That's interesting.
So what else is going on? We talked about the...
Well, I was going to touch on a little bit with the, we're kind of a week late on it, but the Deflategate with Tom Brady, he got his thing overturned. That judge, Berman, I believe is Judge Berman, he did everything in the world to make them come to terms, and when they didn't do it, he said, that's it. The suspension, he overturned the suspension. Now the NFL has appealed it, and they're gonna. this is over deflated footballs. This is an equipment violation.
Yes.
And under the rules of the NFL, equipment violations is something that you get a call from the NFL office and they say, we know what you're doing, stop it, we're fining you $25,000. That's what it says in the NFL guidelines. That's the penalty for that. What they did to this guy, to go through 7 months that we had to hear all this BS about this, about deflated footballs, and you're just suspending him for 4 games. Here's a guy that they got on camera, Ray Rice, knocks out his wife, or fiance at the time, now his wife, gets a 2-game suspension. To get Greg Hardy, another domestic violence situation where he beat the hell out of his girls, allegedly, and is beat it in court because she didn't show up. Now
She was probably locked in the trunk of a car.
But you know what happened.
I take that.
Yeah, he's taking it back. But you know what she did. She was paid off, not to show up. So in the legal system, he beats it, but the NFL suspended him 4 games. And you're going to give Tom Brady the same penalty for deflated footballs,
right,
over domestic violence and drug things that are getting the same amount of,
sure.
I mean, it is ridiculous. And I think Roger Goodell, I think that, the owners got him in their back pocket. Here's a guy who makes you know what he makes a year, the commissioner?
I heard, I was shocked.
You were astounded by it, like I was too. $44 million a year. I wonder if, I imagine that there's certain teams that the owners don't make that much.
Probably.
Like
The
Jacksonville
McCaskies.
maybe they don't. I don't know. I've never looked at. Everything's so publicly. You could pull it up. Maybe they do. Maybe that's a little bit of an underestimate of what they make. But $44 million a year for one man just to sit there, and the one thing that they're trying to fight now, that he's judge, jury, and executioner of everything. You get a penalty. You test positive for PEDs or whatever. Steroids. He's the judge on it, he's the executioner, and he gives you a penalty for it. And that's something that they collectively bargained with the union, that the Players Association, they're going to have to come back and say something about that, because you can't have that man having all that power. But they voted on it.
Right.
Players Association voted on it, and now they're paying the price for it because he does get to be that guy.
Yes.
And I think they're kicking themselves in the ass right now over that.
Yeah, sure. I mentioned the McCaskies. I'm getting off subject a bit, but not terribly far. Did you hear about, or do you know about the Virginia McCaskey, who is an elderly lady today, but very much still in charge of the franchise, the Bears franchise, is that she's a devout Opus Dei Catholic. Did you ever hear
what?
that? Opus Dei Catholic.
What's that?
It's an order within the Catholic Church.
Is it? I'm Catholic. Is it different than being just regular Catholic? We're Roman Catholic, right?
If you're an Opus Dei Catholic, you're Roman. You're a Roman Catholic, but
right.
I don't want to be offensive in explaining how I know how to explain it. We'll just say it's a group that they take it very seriously, as they should, and all Catholics should, but this particular order is very serious about it. They go to Mass on a daily basis.
Oh, they do?
Things like that. And there's a whole bunch of other things we won't get too far into, but Virginia McCaskey, from what I understand, I was told by people who are embroiled in Opus Dei on high levels, that the McCaskies, specifically Virginia, relies on some of the high-ranking church officials in the Opus Dei order for various blessings and decisions, and when they pick players for different positions, it's rumored, allegedly, that Virginia and some other family members consult with this Opus Dei order
to figure out who they're picking to play.
Yes.
Who they draft, who they want to start.
What's really interesting is there's a person by the name of Peter Armenio, who's a priest, an Opus Dei priest, I believe he's from New York. I heard he is a Giants fan. And from what I understand, he is one of the go-to guys here in Chicago that the McCaskies go to for spiritual advice related to the decisions that they make in their...
Well, is it a wonder that the team is floundering right now? You know, because
it's been going on
nothing
a long time.
against the way you come about decisions, whether it be religiously or whatever way, but what I have found to be a problem with most, football teams, that the owners, they're obviously they're multi-millionaires, billionaires, okay? They buy a team.
With the exception of the McCaskies, I believe.
Yeah, they've been there forever,
Yes, but I don't believe they're billionaires.
No, I don't know even what their other businesses are.
I don't think they have them.
I think they're just strictly owners of the Bears, that's their business.
As far as I know.
I could be wrong.
Who really knows?
Who really knows? If they got a couple car dealerships here, who the hell knows?
Hot dogs.
Hot dog stand over there. They might own a piece of Johnny's beef in North Haven, I don't know. But anyway, whatever they do, they're strictly football people, that own the team.
Right.
And owners like the Krafts, Robert Kraft, who owns the New England Patriots, I mean, what he makes off his football team is a fraction of what he makes with his other businesses. And what they do is they delegate this stuff to football people. They hire Joe Fosco as a general manager, Michael McAfee as a head coach, and they let us do our thing. We recruit, we scout players. They don't get involved in that. A lot of owners, Dan Snyder from the Washington Redskins, gets his snout in everything. That's why they're a floundering franchise right now, because he's put all his eggs in Robert Griffin III's basket, okay? That was their draft pick, and he's sticking by it, and the guy just not cutting it right now in the NFL. Was rookie of the year, first year, but he's not cutting it. I'm getting a little off the subject here, but the point I'm trying to say is that you have to have football people make football decisions. You cannot go by what you're telling me that they're doing.
And I want to specify something, that these are what I said about Virginia McCaskey and the Bears and Father Peter Armenio. I want to clarify something. I'm going to present those things I said as unsubstantiated allegation.
That's what you heard. Yeah. It's just you're repeating what somebody has told you, a source told you, and
I consider it a pretty good source.
Right, and there's nothing wrong with saying what somebody told you. I can only repeat what somebody says to me. It doesn't mean that it's fact.
Speaking of saying things, would you mind, we talked about the idea of you telling a story about the time you were golfing with Tony Accardo, who those of us who knew him, you particularly would call him Joe B and not Tony.
Right.
But for the viewers who don't have that
information, Joe B, just say Joe.
Joe. Okay, so you were golfing with Tony Accardo, AKA Joe B, and Jack Cerrone, the late Jack Cerrone. And you had one of your friends with you, Billy, not Dodano, the other Billy. Can we say his last name?
Sure you can.
Billy White.
Right. Good friend of mine.
Yeah. What was the story now? You were at Fresh Meadows?
Yes, we were at Fresh Meadows. We were on the 9th hole.
Okay.
And the 9th hole, the green is like right off of 22nd Street.
Yes.
Okay. And there was a driving range next door, which Fresh Meadows owned also. And it was a big, huge stone parking lot. They're not even a paved parking lot. And we were on the green. Billy White and I went out to play golf that day. And we ran into Jack, actually. I didn't know that he was even going to be there.
Okay.
And we ran into him and Joe, and come on, play with us. So we made a foursome. We get on the 9th hole, and Billy and I are playing, and we get on the 9th hole, we're on the green, and a car comes up and does like a donut in the stone parking lot there, And they get out of the car, it's...
Who's in the car doing it?
My friend Kevin Prendergast, and I believe it was Terry Dolan. And
these are just high school kids.
So they're buddies from whatever. Okay. Billy White and him. They're older than me.
Yes.
They're all 10 years older than me. And obviously this is in the 80s. This is like maybe 1982, 83. I don't even remember. And they get out of the car and he says, "Is it allowed to use the profanity, or should I refrain from that?" I'll refrain. They said, "Hey, you effing MFer, you Billy White, where's that effing money you owe us?" And the old man Joe and Jack, they turn around and JB, I kind of imitate his voice a little bit. He goes, "What the hell is that?" And I says, I don't know. I turned it's friends of his. I have no clue who the hell that is. Billy White's sitting there, he's like, he looks at, we see it's Kevin and Terry, and we just turned our heads, put it out, put the pin in the thing, went to the next hole, and then those two old men were looking up, what the hell are those guys? No clue. Mistaken identity. Got no clue. I'm getting nervous about it, talking about it right now. That was over 30 years ago.
And they're both dead.
And they're both dead, yeah. But yeah, that was funny. They did like a Starsky and Hutch spin out in the parking lot there. Where's that effing buddy who was Billy White? And they looked and they finally saw they door slammed and boom, they peeled out too. Well, they recognized who the hell we were playing with. And they got the hell out of there because they just thought it was me and Billy playing with a couple old fellas. They didn't know who the old fellas were.
Until they got a better look.
Then they got a better look. And then what the hell was that? I don't ask him, I don't know. Yeah, that was funny. But, yeah.
So, we covered golf, Bears.
I wanted to touch on a little bit on the, I don't know what your viewers thought about the Serena Williams. I was pulling for her to win the Grand Slam. And she got beat by
it's a surprise.
Roberta Vinci, I believe her name was, who lost to another Italian, was an Italian final. I forget the girl's name. I had it written down. I apologize to the viewers that I didn't have that my notes with me about that. But the real story is the fact that Serena, she could have had the calendar Grand Slam, which only Steffi Graf has done, and in tennis history, where you win it all 4 majors in the year. You might win the second and third, the third and fourth, and then win the next 2 the next year, but it's not the calendar Grand Slam.
Yes.
Steffi Graf's the only one that ever won the calendar Grand Slam, and Serena was going for it. I was pulling for it. I like history. I like great things, and she is, she's the greatest female tennis player I've ever seen.
Sure.
She really is. I know that there's a lot of stuff that people say about her, and I'm not really a tennis fan at all. I am. I was a McEnroe fan, Jimmy Connors fan, because they were rebel rousers. McEnroe would fight with the refs. He'd MF them all the way through. Connors was kind of the same, just a little more polished. He wouldn't swear at him as much. And I'm one of those tennis fans that I watch the Wimbledon. I'll watch the Australian Open. The finals. I don't watch it all the way through. Yeah. But this year I kind of followed it pretty much because history was about to be made. And I was really sorry that she didn't, it would have been a great story. I really wish she would have done it. And
does she have an ounce of fat on her body?
Probably not.
Not even.
Probably not.
I don't think her earlobes.
No, her earlobes don't even wiggle. She's pretty stout there. She's thick and muscular.
Wonder if she gambles. Do you think she plays for money? Golfers play for money.
Yeah, well, Phil Mickelson's notoriously the Tuesday matches are history. That they play for big money on Tuesday. During their practice round at a tournament. Right. Because start till Thursday. Wednesday's a pro-am. So Tuesday, they play their practice rounds. If they get there on Monday, they'll play a practice round on Monday. But Tuesday is like the day where all the guys are there playing, and they will get there and they'll play for big money. Phil Mickelson's noted for doing that.
Right.
Obviously, they all play for money. Play for a lot more than we were playing for. But yeah, I don't know in tennis. I would think maybe. I don't know. I've never heard of it, but I would think that they do.
Yeah.
I would think that they do.
Be interested in who would play, or would you?
Yeah, I wouldn't even know how you handicap a tennis match. In golf, I could give you shots.
Sure.
I'd give you 3 aside.
Well, you played tennis with Joe, what's his name, for money?
Joe Bullitt, yeah.
Joe Bullitt.
Yeah. I swam with him, too.
You swam with him. We talked about that a couple of shows ago.
Yeah. You could gamble on anything.
Yeah,
I just don't know how you how would you handicap Serena playing against somebody that's less than her?
Yeah.
What is she spotted? I don't know if you spotted 15 love. You're on love to 15, right away.
Sure.
I don't think you do that. I don't know what you do. I think you just have to play even up. Maybe you lay odds, probably. Like in a baseball game,
Probably.
Yeah, you probably outlay 2-1.
Yeah.
However they figure it. But I'm excited about the Cubs.
Which means they're not going to win.
Yes,
Did we
yes.
cover all that?
Yeah, we covered that on my.
Okay, sorry, guys, I know for those of you.
You Cubs fans, I apologize,
You
but
heard it from the
I'm
horse's
not,
mouth.
you know what, actually, the Cubs might win because I'm not really, I don't think they're ready this year yet. I think that they're gonna make the playoffs, obviously. I don't know if they're gonna win that one-game playoff, but if they get into a series, I'm picking them to make some ruckus, but I don't think they're gonna get to the World Series, so that might mean, being that I'm always wrong, that they just might go all the way this year.
Okay.
So that's good news
So there's
for our
no-
news, yeah, for our Cub fans.
I've got a question, non-sports related.
Go ahead.
You probably saw this photo that's been going around on the internet in certain outfit circles of Johnny DeFranco and me in a selfie. Did you see it?
Yes, I
You
did.
did. Do you think that anyone of his brothers are a little surprised by that photograph, or do you think he?
It's hard to answer for what they think.
Yeah. I guess
It's
that's
obvious that they
pretty
have, but you didn't, it's not like you just did something with a computer and put his picture there.
No.
And it's legit.
Yeah.
You legit had a selfie with him.
Yeah.
What was your question? Are they surprised?
Do you think they're upset about it? Because, John and I had a sort of a complicated situation
I would
going on
think
a few
that
years ago.
I think they're surprised, upset, shocked.
Just wondering.
Yeah, I don't.
I mean, you know better than I do.
I'm just surmising, but I would think that they definitely are asking questions
Yeah.
about how did this happen.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I guess that's
That's about the best way to
Yeah.
say it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
what was this? You know,
Right.
Being that, like you said, your history with them, but
Yeah.
who knows?
Right. So, did we cover everything?
Pretty much. I don't think that there's anything we left.
There's one thing I wanted to address. I don't know your name, but I got your email. You know who you are. You wanted me to ask Michael something about Brookwood. I skimmed the email. I don't remember what you asked, and I lost track of it. If you want to send me another email, be a little more clear. I need help sometimes figuring things out. I'd be glad to present it to Michael on a future show. And maybe, we don't know if he'll talk about it or not, but if it's harmless, he may. So, anything?
That's about it, buddy.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.